If you were looking for a no bullshit video where somebody is going to explain to you how to build an attractive body, an aesthetic body, not a bodybuilding body, but an aesthetic body, with the journey that he's been through, with the experience that he has, and give you no bullshit advice. So I'm not going to try to sell you something, and I'm not going to talk about these basic things that everyone on the internet is talking about. I'm going to expose some of the influencers, and I'm going to give you real practical advice on how I built my body and how it took me 6 years in order to achieve my goal. And I want you to do the same, but in a much shorter time span. Now I'm going to assume because you clicked on this video, you clicked on it because it said aesthetic and attractive, and you're a male between the ages of 13 to 30. If that's you, this is the correct video for you. Now let me get started. When I started training, it was at the age of 14, 15, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was spending hours on my workouts. I trained with 1.5 kg dumbbells. I would do 200 reps, and it would took me like 2 hours to complete my workouts. At that time, my physique wasn't great, but I was seeing some kind of results which pushed me to actually be better. Over the years, I transitioned from a lot of different training styles. I went from home workouts to calisthenics, to gym workouts, back to calisthenics, to home workouts. So I experienced a lot of different areas of training. I know what things actually work together and what actually causes a certain reaction. Training for an aesthetic body is not even near as training like a bodybuilder. So a lot of you guys want an aesthetic body but are actually training like a bodybuilder because 99% of the influencers out there, and I was falling for that trap as well, are promoting a bodybuilding split. That means they are isolating every single muscle group. They are training 4 to 5 times a week. They are progressively overloading on every single exercise, promoting those compounds. So there is a lot of difference that it comes to training like a bodybuilder and training like a normal guy that is looking to get in shape. So if you're a normal guy trying to get in shape and not trying to be on stage or look absolutely huge, well, there's a lot of small little aspects that you need in your training that will allow you to get to that physique. So the first one is going to be you don't need to train 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week in order to build an amazing body. 3 times a week is completely fine. When I first started training, I was like a fucking stupid retard, and I was training 7 times a week, with sometimes even training 2 times a day. Now, my recovery was completely bullshit. Now, I did build some muscle because I was following a bodybuilding split, but the results that I was getting were completely horrible. So staying in a range where you are training 3 to 4 to 5 times a week is the ideal range that you can be in. 6 maybe I would avoid if you are not an advanced level. If you're intermediate, stay to 3, 4 or 5 times a week training, as long as you're progressively overloading. I think this is the one single metric that you should be looking at in order to build an aesthetic physique. Now, if you want to build strength, that's not the same thing as building an aesthetic physique. So if you're looking to build strength, there's a lot of different factors that go into it as well, like your rest times, your form, your time under tension, what muscles you're hitting. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, and that's going to push you more towards the bodybuilding type of training. If you want an aesthetic body, just progressively overloading, going to the gym 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week is completely enough. And you don't have to focus on doing so much isolation work, on timing your rest times. You don't have to focus combining the perfect exercises together, doing the perfect split. What I would recommend, if you're training 5 times a week, go on a upper-lower push-pull leg split. It's really simple, it's fucking nice, and I would like to pair that with some kind of training outside of the gym. It can be boxing, it can be running, it can be swimming, whatever it is, just pair it with something else. Now, this might be a controversial take, but if you're training for aesthetics and if you're training for attractiveness, I recommend you to have shorter rest times. I know a lot of those bodybuilders told you to rest around 3 to 5 minutes. That's fine, and they're completely correct when it comes to their area, because their area is building muscle and becoming huge. But if you want to be aesthetic, being aesthetic doesn't just mean having a shit amount of muscle. Being aesthetic actually means having low body fat. It means that you are vascular, that you have decent muscle size. So you still have to be big, but the definition on your muscles is much more important. And it means that you are capable in your body. Your endurance is pretty good. So I would recommend you to rest shorter. In your compound exercises, rest 2 to 3 minutes max. And in your isolation work, rest 1 minute. That style of training actually allowed me to get really shredded and to build a jacked physique. Now it might confuse some of you, and yes, I am not the strongest guy in the gym. I can't lift 40 kg dumbbells and incline press it for 10 reps, like some of my friends can. But they are training more of a bodybuilding split. Now I can press 35 kgs for 8, and that's not a bad metric to have. And looking at the specs, this is a pretty solid metric. Which brings me to the next point, which is going to be your diet doesn't need to be complicated, but it does have to be real food. Now, I'm gonna talk about the labor rule. And this thing helped me a lot. So you know when you go into the store and you have all of your favorite foods. You have the chips, you have the fries. Like you look at those foods and you look behind it and you have an ingredients list. So the label tells you what it's made of. And then you have salt, you have some chemicals, you have potato, whatever. Now I want you to take that favorite food that you have, let's say it's fries or chips, and look at the main ingredient of that food. Well, it's potato. Now when you go to the potato section, you pick up a potato, it doesn't have an ingredients list because the food in itself is made out of potato. A potato is a potato. It doesn't have anything else in it. So this is my rule when it comes to actually eating real food. Look at the main ingredient of the bullshit foods that you're eating and then just eat that food. Because when you have an ingredients list, that means that food is processed. And we don't want to be eating processed food. I want you to focus on real foods. And there is a bunch of real foods that are great for your physique and that you can eat on a daily basis and switch them up so you don't constantly eat the same thing. That actually will drive you a shit amount of results. The labor rule is really simple. Take a favorite food that you have. Let's say it's fries or chips. And take the main ingredient. Then eat that main ingredient. That's it. You don't understand how much that's going to help your physique. Now, all the meats don't really have an ingredients list. They maybe have something, but meats are alright. So you are eating your steaks, red meats, chicken breasts. Those are all fine foods. When it comes to vegetables, just eat the foods that don't have labels. So the broccoli, the zucchinis, the tomatoes, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes. Those are the foods that actually are real and that are going to allow you to stay lean while building muscle. Now I know a lot of you looked at those the other influencers. If you're like me, I watched a shit ton of influencers on the internet. And everybody says, well, calories are calories. As long as you're in your calorie goal, it doesn't matter what you're eating. And I think this is complete bullshit. Alright, so let's say you're eating 2000 calories. And now you are eating McDonald's, but you're inside of those 2000 calories. Now first off, you're going to be pretty hungry at the end of the day because 2000 calories of McDonald's isn't that much food. You maybe have like 5 cheeseburgers that fit into that. Then also, this is a shit ton of processed food. And that's going to create a lot of brain fog and water retention in your body because it's filled with sodium. Now, when I found out that I can eat junk food as long as it fits my calories, I would track my calories. And I would eat junk food inside of my 2000 calories that I was eating. Now, I was constantly hungry because you can't really fit a lot of fast food in 2000 calories. Like, I can't really eat a lot throughout the day. And I will feel completely shit at the end of it. Even though I was losing weight, I was still a little bit chubby. I was still having a little belly fat. I wasn't really happy with my physique because that's not how it works. Which brings me to the main thing that influencers sell, and that's 1 gram of protein for a pound of body weight. I think this is cap. I don't think this is true. The guy who weighs 250 pounds isn't going to eat 250 grams of protein every single day. Maybe if he's going on stage, he is, but for the most majority of you guys, you want to live your life and gym being a supplement to your life. You don't want to live your life around the gym like a lot of those bodybuilders do. So eating 250 grams of protein if you are a 255 pound guy is not really going to be sustainable, and I don't think it is necessary for you to build muscle. So staying around the range of 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein for a pound of body weight is an ideal metric to be at. Like, most days I don't hit my 200 grams of protein. I don't hit 180 grams of protein some days. I like to stay around the range of 130 to 150. I think this is the perfect range for me. And if I eat more, great. If I don't, it doesn't matter. Less, I wouldn't really go less. I I still need a lot of fuel to actually recover from my workouts. But 130 to 150, I think this is the ideal range for me. I'm 81 kgs. I don't know how much that is in pounds. Here is the conversion. So 1 gram of protein for a pound of body weight is a complete scam. You don't have to eat that much. Just eat in a decent range. Eat in a range where you think like, all right, this is maybe enough for me. So if you weigh 80 kgs like me, 130 to 150 is completely enough, and you don't have to force yourself to go to 200 or 180. It doesn't matter. So as long as you're hitting decent amount of protein, you don't actually need to constantly push yourself to do more. Now, once you actually have your workout in place, you know how you have to train, you know what you have to eat and how much you have to eat, bring me to the point the muscles that you actually want to train in order to build an aesthetic physique. Now, I would spend years training my shoulders, my arms, my lower chest, my legs, but those muscles aren't really the muscles that make you look more attractive. And now, hold on, let me finish. The muscles that really make a big difference in your aesthetic is your neck, your upper traps, your side delts, your upper chest, and your abs. Now, yes, I want you to train all muscles, but by prioritizing those muscles, you're going to actually look much more masculine and you're going to look more aesthetic as a guy. To that list, this is the list that most guys follow. I would also add thick forearms and thick wrists. I would train every single day a shit ton, and there was an era of my life where I was training abs 2 hours a day. I'm not even kidding you. I was doing intervals of 45 seconds work and 15 seconds rest, and I would have a list of 25 exercises I would do. So that's 25 minutes of work, and I would repeat that for 3 sets. Now you can imagine how much volume I was actually doing. And now I didn't just do it for abs. I also did it for my shoulders, for my chest. I was just obsessed with feeling the absolute burn in my muscle and the next day waking up not being able to lift my chest. So over time, I built a really wide physique and really big physique. One problem that I had, nobody told me to train the muscles that actually make me look good. So nobody told me to train my forearms, my wrists, my neck, my upper traps, my upper chest, I actually did train my abs. I was building a physique which looked really good, but the main parts of an attractive physique was completely slacking. So my forearms were really fucking skinny. My neck, holy shit, my neck. You know when you see a giraffe? Yeah, that's what I was. I was a fucking giraffe. I would have huge shoulders and then I would have a fucking thin neck. From my shoulders, I would do some side delts, but mostly I would do overhead presses and I would do real delts. So my side delts suffered a lot and I would just have flat shoulders. So training the right muscle groups is really important. It took me around 1.5 years to actually balance my upper chest with my lower chest. So don't make the same mistakes that I did and just focus on one muscle group. Train everything, but focus on the muscles that actually make you look good and that actually impact your physique the most. Mainly in clothes. So in clothes, you see this, you see the side delt, you see the traps over here, you see the neck fully, you see the forearms popping out and the thickness of your wrists, and if you're wearing a tank top, you actually see the upper chest as well. Those are the muscle groups that make you look like you actually command the room, that you involve some strength in your body. So having a thick neck, massive traps, and like thick forearms, from a distance you read as a powerful aesthetic man. You look fucking good. An aesthetic look means having a V-taper. A V-taper essentially means having a thinner waist and a wider like shoulder to waist ratio. Having a twice as big of shoulders than your waist, this is a good ratio to have. Now, after we know what muscles to train, And this is around the era where I was training like a maniac. I was training 6 times a week, no to minimum rest. So I'm talking about exercise 1 minute, exercise superset, drop set, 1 minute rest. So I would rest really low and I would do really intense workouts and I would train 6 times a week. So you can imagine the strain that that has on my recovery. But I don't care. I'm thinking I'm eating good. I'm tracking my macros. I'm using my fitness pal every single day. I had huge streaks on my fitness pal. I am eating good. The scale shows that I am actually progressing. The mirror shows that I am progressing. But something inside of my body feels weird. And I'm not surprised. I was clearly overtrained. So my strength didn't progress as much. Like it would took me fucking months to increase my weight on a single lift, which is not a good sign. Usually you want to increase your weights every 1 to 2 weeks. The one thing that I was missing and nobody told me about was my recovery. Now I thought I was recovering well because I was resting the 1 day a week, I was eating well. Well, this is everything that the influencers told me. But no influencers at that time were talking about sleep. Sleep is the number one thing, the most anabolic thing you can do for yourself in order to be better at working out, have more strength, be more recovered, and build an aesthetic physique. Now, with that intense training, I would need 7.5 to 8 hours of proper sleep, like deep sleep, in order to recover. So with me having that insane amount of volume and nobody telling me that I have to sleep a certain amount of hours, I was a dickhead. So I was like in my teenage years, puberty was hitting hard. I just got a girlfriend. I was living. I was on the top of the world. I would sleep for 3 to 4 hours every single day because I thought this is the way. I would be with my girlfriend till around 1 a.m. Then I would go to sleep and I would wake up at 5 a.m. to go for a run before my school. Now this might seem fucking crazy. Like this guy is doing it, like this is the way. But it actually isn't because I was sleeping less than 4 hours. And I'm not talking this is like occasional stuff. This would be on a daily basis. So only on Saturdays would I get over 6 hours of sleep. Because I was thinking, oh, well, I don't have any school. This is the one day that I'm going to sleep in. And I thought this one day that I was sleeping a lot was actually fixing my whole week of sleep. So I was a complete retard when it comes to this. So this is some bro science going on here. But the reason I didn't really progress and that I constantly felt exhausted and fatigued was because I was actually sleeping way below my baseline. Like way below. It's not even 6 hours. 6 hours is fine. 6 hours you're working properly. 7.5 hours to 8 hours is you are completely rested, you're on the top of the world. Below 6 hours, you are getting in the danger zone where you are sleep deprived. And the problem with being sleep deprived is my brain thought this is my normal state. I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really think sleep is that important. So my brain got so used to feeling sleep deprived that I thought this is my normal state and this is how I feel like. Like I was telling everybody that I'm feeling great on 4 to 5 hours of sleep and everybody was looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. But the thing is, I did feel great at 4 to 5 hours of sleep because I didn't know better. And the moment, this is a couple of years later, the moment I started to sleep 6, 7, 8 hours a day, holy shit, I was sleep deprived. Holy shit, did I feel fucking horrible. Like at 5 p.m., not even at 3 p.m., I will be completely dead. Like I will be laying here with my head up, like thinking about my life, and I wouldn't go to sleep because I didn't want to be a pussy and sleep in the middle of the day. Now, when I wake up, I'm awake for the entire day. I fall asleep at 10 p.m. Perfect time. Before, that was fucking horrible. Now, a lot of you think, well, I sleep 7 to 8 hours, so I'm fine. But let me tell you, there's a big difference between being like laying in your bed, being asleep, and having actual deep sleep. So, the way that sleep works is you fall asleep the moment that your body temperature, your core body temperature drops 1 degree. So, the moment your body drops 1 degree Celsius, you fall asleep. Now, the way that we want to engineer this, so we have phases, like every REM sleep, like deep sleep cycle, lasts 1.5 hours. So we want to wake up in 1.5 hour cycles. So if you have to wake up really early, then waking up after 6 hours is good, but after 6.5 hours maybe isn't ideal, because then you're breaking a deep sleep cycle in half. And once you break a deep sleep cycle in half, that is the times where you can experience brain fog, you can feel weird, and a lot of different side effects. So we want to actually sleep in a 1.5 hour cycles. That's why 7.5 hours of sleep is the ideal range for me. Now when I go to sleep, I focus on having my room at 16 degrees. This might sound crazy, but you sleep the best in a really cold room. If I fall asleep after my body temperature drops 1 degree Celsius, this actually makes sense. The next thing is I sleep in a really dark room. I turn off all my lights, I close my windows, everything is complete darkness. So when I fall asleep, I am in a completely dark room, and I wake up in a semi-dark room because the light is kind of peeking out of the window. But I wake up in a dark room, I go to sleep in a fucking pitch black room. This is the two things that I follow. A lot of guys tell you, don't scroll on your phone, take a warm shower before, go take a walk, don't eat 2 hours before bed. This, for eating 2 hours before bed, this is actually true. The other things, they're also true, but it's really hard to sustain when you actually have other things going on into your life. So when I come home at 11 p.m. from my work and I have to wake up at 7, so I'm not just going to go take a big shower now, then I'm going to eat my food and wait for 2 hours. No, I'm actually going to live my life, and then I'm going to do my best with the simple habits that I can to optimize my sleep. So sleep is really fucking important. So now that we are sleeping well, to build the physique that you actually want. So for the physique that most normal guys want, I'm not talking about the big bodybuilders. For the physique that you're looking for at this stage, because I'm assuming you don't have an aesthetic physique yet, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. If you're looking for an aesthetic physique, it actually will take you 2 years and not 10 like a lot of those influencers promote. So 2 years, I think, is going to be enough if you follow these steps correctly to build the physique that you're looking for. Now, of course, in 10 you can build an even better physique, but the thing that you're looking for right now is 2 years away. Maybe a little bit less, you will see things like, you will see signs of your body and you will be proud of the results that you have made. But I'm telling you, 2 years is the exact number where you are going to actually feel, alright, I made it. I have the best physique ever. Now, of course, after those 2 years, you're going to fall into this whole, like, I want to get even better, I want to get even bigger, I want to be even more lean, and this is going to start a complete new cycle. You're going to take your physique to a complete new level after 2 years of training, consistent training, and then going on to 10 years, you're going to look absolutely huge. I'm talking about the physique that makes you look good in clothes. The one that you are going to fill up your clothes properly, where your chest is going to be popping out, your arms are going to be tight around the sleeves, and your stomach is going to be pretty leaned out, so you're not going to see your stomach popping through your shirt. This is what I mean by an aesthetic physique in 2 years. Which makes me go to the last point, and I'm going to piss off a lot of fitness influencers with that one. Cardio and weights are not an enemy. So whoever tells you that if you do cardio and weights that you're a fucking idiot and that you're going to lose muscle, shut the fuck up. You're a complete fucking idiot. Pairing hybrid training. So hybrid training is the era where all aesthetic physiques live in. So if you only do weightlifting, you're going to look absolutely huge, but you're going to have no capability in doing anything but lifting those dumbbells. You're going to be absolutely dog shit at everything that you do. You're just going to look good and be huge. When you just go for runs and do cardio, you're going to look skinny and you're going to be like a fucking pussy. So you want to be in a mix of them both. And whoever tells you that if you do cardio and you lift weights, that you're going to lose muscle and look worse, he's a fucking idiot. Like, shut the fuck up. You're talking bullshit. You don't even know what you're talking about. The internet either has cardio people or lifting people. The aesthetic physique lives in the hybrid training people. The people who do hybrid training, those are the most aesthetic guys. I used to be on the lifting side when it comes to training. So I didn't do any cardio because I thought cardio kills gains. Because I watched at all of those bullshit influencers. So cardio kills gains. Alright, I'm just going to do lift. I'm just going to lift. Every day, couple hours a day. I'm going to lift. I'm going to build a huge body, avoiding cardio. 2 years in, I'm stiff as a motherfucker. I can't run fucking 1 kilometer without thinking like I'm going to die. Like, there's a lot of side effects that come from just lifting and not doing any cardio. I completely stopped. After 2 years, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing this shit. I'm going to include some cardio in my training. I started boxing, I started running, I started cycling, I started swimming, I started training other sports. So cardio, I think, is an essential when it comes to build a really great physique. This is the number one thing that I learned and actually blew my mind. But when you do cardio, nasal breathing, so breathing through your nose, burns more fat than if you would just breathe through your mouth. This absolutely shook my mind. And I was like, what the hell? This doesn't even make any sense. I had to Google it and I found out it is actually true. So the way it works, if you are doing mouth breathing, you're actually working over your fat oxidation zone. This means that your body is going to start to burn glycogen instead of actually burning fat from your body, because you're actually working so much above your fat burning zone. So you're working out actually so much above that your metabolism can't keep up. So it has to burn more glycogen than it is burning fat. Nasal breathing actually forces you to stay in that lower zone. So it's going to feel much more easy when you're doing cardio, because you're not going to be able to do sprints or all those other bullshits that actually cause you to do mouth breathing. But trust me, breathing through your nose, even though it might seem easier in the beginning because you are not so exhausting yourself with your cardio sessions, you're actually burning more fat because you're in your fat oxidation zone. If you go above that, if you start doing mouth breathing, now, which is okay at the end of your cardio session, it's completely fine. But for the majority of your cardio session, I would say 90%, focus on nasal breathing so that you don't start burning glycogen and that your metabolism doesn't start acting up. And just focus on burning fat. It's going to feel extremely easy, which most of you guys is going to think, well, then it's not effective. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're doing. You're coming here looking for advice on how to build an aesthetic body. And trust me, this is the way. So just try it. Try it for 2 months and see what results you actually generate from training for 2 months. This is the complete framework that I have followed in the past 6 years in order to build a really amazing physique. So if you're looking to do the same, this is the guide that I have followed. This is the framework that I have realized throughout my years of training. Thank you guys for watching. I think you have some serious work to do to build your aesthetic physique. So get to work, and I catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.